My name is Logan Lowry. I am in the 6th grade. Every average kid, there's a couple kids that pick on you every now and then. But in 4th grade, I had a kid that picked on me a lot, and he was always pushing me, and he would always call me names. And he had a group of kids that would do it too. They'd always push me around, and they'd call me names. And obviously, you know, they were talking to. Sometimes they do stuff about my freckles and my red hair, and they do a lot of that. And in 4th grade, I told my teacher, and that stopped that year. And once something happened to him, everybody else stopped. And so I went home that summer, and I came back to school next year, and he was in my class. He didn't show up for the first 2-3 months, and it was fine until he came back. Nobody bothered me until he came back. And then when he came back, he started picking on me again, and everybody else all his group last year started picking on me again. So.
I was in 4th grade, and I knew something was going on because his attitude was changing, and we found out what was happening, that he was having problems with a bully, and that's when we went to his teacher, and the teacher started looking for stuff in a proactive manner. Then things ended that year in 5th grade. The student wasn't there. I had made his teacher aware that there had been problems with the student the year before, and then around Christmas, I really started noticing a change in his attitude. He was always down on himself, every little thing. If something happened that went wrong, he was talking about how stupid he was, how he was a failure. He was snapping at his sisters all the time. And I was trying to figure out what was going on, where it was coming from. And it progressed right after school came back from Christmas break. I actually had a parent come to my house to tell me that they wanted to let me know about a bullying situation at the school. And that afternoon, him and we went out and we talked about it and found out that the bullying had started, and this time it was worse. It had progressed to a large group constantly pushing him. Every time he turned around, he was getting pushed into walls. So I planned on going to the school the next day when I got a phone call that Friday afternoon before I could get there that he had been in a fight. And a child much larger than him had 2 other students hold him against the wall and started punching him. And at that point, all of this, that's when it was really brought to everybody's attention, and we started working with it, and the school started working on it, and the problem went away in the school, but we still have to deal with the fallout from him going for so many months, dealing with being picked on verbally, being physically picked on. He was one of the smaller kids in his class, although the kids were much larger, and it had a lot of issues because he still has problems with his self-esteem, and he gets down on himself a lot. I would advise any parent, if you notice anything happening with your child that's not normal for them, they snap easier, they're all of a sudden down on themselves, they feel like they can't do anything right all of a sudden, start finding out what's going on. Get out there, because kids don't always tell you. Sometimes, this time he didn't tell me because he was scared to stress me out because I was pregnant and he didn't want me to worry. Sometimes kids, they don't tell because they're scared if they tattletale, it's going to get worse. And just, you know your child better than anyone, and when you notice any difference going on, find out what it is, because sometimes even just that verbal abuse, it can do a lot to destroy them. And if we hadn't have found out when we did, things could have been a lot worse, because like I said, we're still dealing with the fallout, because he had reached a point that the smallest thing he interpreted as being attacked, and he was like a little time bomb ticking and would just set off by just the smallest things.
We were at a really, really small school. There was only 30 kids in my grade, and there was only 8 girls in my entire grade. So it made it rougher because there wasn't really that many differences of personality. And whenever 1 or 2 girls decided they had a problem with you, then all the girls kind of zoned you out. They wouldn't talk with you. You know, they wouldn't let me sit with them at lunch or just be around them. Like, they would invite everybody else in the class and make a point of not to invite me in front of the whole class and different stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really feel like I could go to anybody because it would only make it worse, and it just, you know, like, I couldn't go to the bathrooms anymore with them because the rumor was that I was a lesbian, and so they wouldn't let me come in there because they said they couldn't be around another girl in there like that. And so then my 7th grade year, I finally went and talked to somebody about it. But even then, it didn't really feel like it made a difference. Mom wanted me to switch schools, but I refused because I felt like that was giving in. But, you know, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel like going to school or anything. My principal offered to let me press charges against one of them because the bullying had been so bad, and she had called my house and harassed me and stuff. But at the time, I didn't really want to because I felt like it was only going to make it worse. But other than that, there was really never any true punishment. I remember our counselor come in, and she kind of talked to everybody about it, you know, and was just like, you know, you can't be doing this stuff. But I don't really feel like it was punishment per se. I switched schools my junior year, and I think there were still some side effects of that even to that point. And I know that if I went back to Chime Central, like some of the stuff they would say to me and stuff, I know that it would be the exact same thing. So I don't really feel like it ever really stopped. I just kind of started to ignore it more. And whenever I switched schools, you know, it really helped me a lot my senior year. Whenever I went to high school, our high school was 3 middle schools combined. But I wouldn't go talk to anybody. You know, I remember I would eat my lunch as fast as I could in the cafeteria, so that way I could go to the library and read, so I didn't have to be around people. And like I would go outside and sit in like this little kind of balcony area because no one else was out there, and I could eat in peace there. And now I just go to the library and read for the rest of the time, and me and the librarian become really good friends then. But you know, I didn't talk to people. And even whenever, you know, I started like whenever I switched schools and stuff, I still found it hard to talk to people. But this past year, I met some really good friends that kind of helped me through it, and they've kind of helped me to adapt more to being, you know, around people my own age. Yeah, I mean, it still affects me a lot because I think back about it and stuff, and I can tell I'm more sensitive to certain issues I used to get bullied about. And, you know, like there's several people that have told me like I have low self-esteem now, but I mean, I don't really feel that way, but I don't know, I can still tell that there's some things about it. And I try to talk to people more that, you know, are being bullied. Like in the cafeteria, a lot of times I'll go around and, you know, ask people, you know, hey, do you want to come sit with us, because they're sitting by themselves. And I mean, I think part of the reason why I chose journalism as a major was because of my time being bullied, because I would read so much. And that's what really got me into reading, because it was easier than being around people. And that got me into writing, and that's really inspired my major, I guess.